confidence in your abilities?
Well, I'm rebellious in the sense that I do not like to follow the traditional thinking in general, because I feel traditional thinking has already bear fruit and has already has the influence on thinking on the society. There must be some other ways that may create interesting phenomena that was not understood before. And so I like to think about different ways to explore. I think any creative thinking needs to be rebellion in some way. But at the same time, you have to follow tradition in some way, because so many people have developed the subject for a few thousand years. Most of these are genius, great master. No single person can be better than the union of all these people's thinking, who are tremendous powerful in creating the subject. So in front of them, you have to be humble, you have to learn from them. At the same time, you could feel rebellion because, after all, the whole subject is moving forward. In the forward part, there are always some room that you can find some way to improve.
There is a lot of great mathematicians in the history that both mathematicians and philosophers like Newton and Descartes and Rousseau. So do you have your personal philosophy? And second question is, when did you decide to devote yourself to the math? Thank you.
Every good mathematician has their own philosophy of thinking about mathematics. I do, but on the other hand, I think it's probably too technical to explain to you in this audience. I do develop it when I was already in graduate school, but it takes a long time to develop. When a great mathematician like Newton and others that you were talking, it takes a while to develop it, but most important of all is that the so-called philosophy has to be useful at the end in mathematics. That it will translate into capability to prove theorems, to develop subjects that are interesting, that have practical interest in mathematics itself. Otherwise, they are empty works.
We can see some young kids in China, they spend a lot of time studying Olympics mathematics just because it's fundamental to their future study in a top school. So what do you think about this? Thank you.
Well, that's exactly the reason I start this award, which I want to break this tradition. Our life is not built because of going to Beida, Tsinghua. Our future depends on our interest in several things, in civilization, in pure science, in literature, in all that. You do not have to go to Beida, Tsinghua in order to be a great scientist, to be a great scholar, or to be successful in the society. So therefore, examination should not be your only interest, going to a great school. Great school do produce very good people, but some so-called second-rate high school also produce good people.
Our math teacher told us that mathematics is the most glamorous language in this universe, but we cannot deny that there's a large amount of people, students in China, that they hate mathematics, and to some extent, examinations has actually killed the interest of mathematics. What's your expectation to us, generation, to our generation, to the new generations? Thank you.
Examinations, if you treat it nicely, it could become an encouragement. I remember when I was in high school, I could not say I like examinations, but I do polish myself, my own knowledge, by going through a test. If I get a full mark on examination, I feel more confident. But on the other hand, you treat examination in a bad manner, feeling a great pressure, that the only reason you want to get a high grade is because you go to a good school, and you lost the interest in the subject. then it's very bad. And I believe the students should treat examination in a more positive manner, and the teachers and the parents should relax the students away from pushing them to go through many, many examinations. A few examinations I think is important and useful, but overburdened examinations are bad.
Great. Thank you. I want to thank you all for your questions. You guys have been great. Thank you. Well, obviously, Dr. Yao, you've been very, very successful in the field of mathematics. And because of that, a lot of people have said that you have a very strong ego. You have a very strong personality and a strong ego.
Right.
And I read an article in which a friend of yours actually said, and her name was Deanne Young, and she said, Yao has an outsized ego and great ambition and has done things that may dismay his peers. Can you comment on that?
Because the dean is a son of a good friend, Professor Yang, C.T. Yang. I know C.T. Yang very well, but I do not know Dean as much as I should have. But he's a geometer. I think Dean has confused the concept of confidence or ambition with what he called ego.
Ego.
Well, in a way, up to now, it's difficult to, I think it's a mixture, right? When you say people have the ego. Now, for a mathematician, or in fact, for any distinguished scientist, I don't believe they could be a good scientist if they don't have ambition and if they don't have confidence. You go to the great scientists in the history, Newton, Einstein, Archimedes, all of them have ambition, all of them have great confidence on themselves. You may say they are ego. Yeah, they have some ego, of course. Otherwise, they could not be as great as a scientist as they were. So I don't believe I have as much ambition or confidence as them. But facing the nature, the great mystery of nature, we all feel humble.
Right, right.
So,
I see your point, because all scientists
yes,
are challenging
yes,
what exists at present.
Right.
They're challenging the theories. They're challenging
right,
what's fact now.
yeah,
Right.
So we see the great mystery provide in front of nature that are facing us are much more challenging than some man-made problems like getting an award or of something given or facing examination and all that. So we may ignore those artificial problems and pay more attention to problems that are presented to us by nature. And that can be perceived as ego because our orientation are toward more important questions, namely the truth and beauty of mathematics. And this usually are misinterpreted.
Well, what would you like to be the greatest accomplishment of your life? What would you like to leave the world with?
Well, there are many important questions in mathematics I really like to see how to be solved. There's a mystery to me. I really like to understand it. That's my biggest ambition. But also, I would like to see the second generation or the third generation of our descendants will be trained and will contribute to mathematics as a whole, especially in China.
Yeah, I hope to see that the next generations to come, including this generation here in our studio audience, will help to unlock some of those mysteries that you've been talking about in the universe. Well, Dr. Yao, I want to thank you so much for being on Up Close with us here today. It's been a great conversation. I want to thank our audience for all of your great participation, and to our viewers at home, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Yi Shu in Beijing. We'll see you next week on Up Close, and bye for now.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.